Hello, MCU fans! Today we're going to take a look at the question of whether Doctor Doom is coming after the Kang Council because we really need a resolution to that Quantumania post-credit scene. Now, there will be some spoilers to the Fantastic Four movie, but as long as you're okay with that, then let's dive right in and see what we can find out. Don't forget, we have a July contest running all month long. Be subscribed or leave a comment, and you could win a book or a steelbook. Best of luck. And we have a membership option with lots of cool perks, so you might check it out in case you're interested. Plus, hang around to the end of the video, and I'll talk about our Doomsday Countdown rewatch on the Discord. Okay, so today's question will be looking at whether or not Doctor Doom is setting out to destroy the Kang Council, because there were thousands upon thousands of variants in that Coliseum. I want to know what happened to them. Now, I do realize that some people believe that Loki Season 2 addressed all those variants. I mean, we see them looking over a report of the variants of He Who Remains, in other words, of Kang, and they're talking about the fact, do any of them know we exist? Nope. They mentioned there was one that caused a little bit of a ruckus on 616 Adjacent Realm, in other words, the Quantum Realm, but they handled it, so we're good for now. So obviously this is referring specifically to the Kang that we saw killed in Quantumania, who probably would have come back as Beyonder Kang if Kang Dynasty was still going to happen, but now I'm guessing that he's just gone. But are they really saying that all of these Kang variants are being addressed by the TVA? And in fact, I gotta wonder, is this Coliseum actually somewhere where they can't be tracked? Is it somewhere like in a secret location, similar to how the TVA is difficult to reach? So I really think these variants are still out there and need to be addressed. Okay, so how might Doctor Doom take care of them? Well, I actually think Marvel could adapt a really cool concept from the Secret Wars comic run. In particular, something we learned about in New Avengers number 33, dealing with, well, this character, Molecule Man. Now, I do want to say right up front, I don't think Marvel is going to introduce Molecule Man. He's way too complex of a character, and it's way too late in the game to bring him in. However, there's an interesting concept about him that they might adapt. In particular, he explained that I am a bomb. Basically, the Beyonders created him as a bomb. And in particular, he says, the moment you saw earlier, my origin was a bit of celestial magic, the charging of the bomb. And it happens simultaneously across every reality. So he's a bomb in every universe where he exists. And they, the Beyonders, lit my fuse, and now all of me, I'm terminal. And when I die, I'll take the universe with me. And they want to see what happens when we all go off at once. Okay, so the concept here is that Molecule Man exists in every universe, and he's basically a bomb that when he dies, the entire universe dies. So Dr. Doom says, well, that's not what occurred. You died and nothing happened. So the Molecule Man goes on to explain that he is only one of an infinite number of me's. And if we're going to thwart this plan, you're going to have to kill a whole lot of me, and soon, because otherwise he'll be used as a bomb again to destroy all the universes. And he says, when you reach a high enough threshold, of killing him, you'll start seeing some real results from your work, the blue and red shift of incursions. So that was actually what started creating incursions when the Molecule Man were dying, and of course their universe dying with him. Okay, so again, Marvel is not going to give us Molecule Man, I'm certain of it. But this idea of a character who exists across several different universes being used as a bomb to destroy their home universe, that's an interesting concept we might see. All right, so first let's talk about where we've seen bombs used before. Obviously, in Loki Season 2, Dox started bombing the timelines. Basically, the Minutemen carried reset charges into each of the different timelines and set them off as a bomb, destroying those timelines. Now, of course, the downside of this tactic is it meant they had to go into each individual timeline to bomb it. Here we can see them setting off bombs at various points in the timelines, and of course the result is that particular timeline shriveled and died all the way back to the sacred timeline. So the sacred timeline was fine, it just shriveled and died back to the nexus point off the sacred timeline. Okay, so you can definitely bomb individual timelines. And then we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine that Cassandra took it a step further with the Time Ripper. The Time Ripper is obviously loaded with tons of reset charges, and she was going to use it to wipe out the entire 10005 universe, every timeline, the whole thing. And we saw that she almost succeeded. She wiped out 10005 down to 1%, and it took the Herculean efforts of Deadpool and a totally ripped Wolverine to be able to save the universe. Man, Hugh Jackman, he is a marvel to humanity. That's all I can say. Dude is ripped. Anyway, so we then see that 10005 was recreated then by the efforts of Deadpool and Wolverine, but the Time Ripper would have wiped out the entire universe. Okay, so that's important to note. However, there was one big limitation. It seems, at least, that you had to take the Time Ripper to the universe you were going to destroy. In fact, I really don't know what Cassandra's exit plan was. If she was destroying all of 10005 and she was in that universe, how was she going to get away? But we never found out because she didn't succeed. But obviously, that's the limitation, right? You have to be in the universe. Well, we're talking about Doctor Doom here. So what if he got a hold of the Time Ripper or built his own and he improved upon it? What if he made it so you don't have to go to the actual universe to destroy it? You just need something tethering you to that universe, some way to connect back to the universe. Okay, so let's say then that he showed up here in this Coliseum with all the crazy Kangs, right? And he had his Time Ripper with him, and he turned it on, and he used the temporal auras of each of the Kangs to tether him back to their home universes and used them as bombs to destroy their home universes. He would basically wipe out all of the universes these Kangs came from in one fell swoop. Oh my word, wouldn't that just be incredible to see? He just shows up and wipes out every one of their universes. But I'll take it a step further. Does he even need a Time Ripper? Because at the end of Fantastic Four, in the post-credit scene, we saw him appear in the same room with Franklin Richards, and Franklin didn't seem very scared, right? So we don't know what happened next. I mean, maybe Dr. Doom went to actually go talk to the Fantastic Four. Wouldn't that be wild? But I'm wondering if he instead just bolted with Franklin out of the room. And if so, what if he used Franklin as his Time Ripper? So, now once again, he heads back to that Coliseum, right? Only this time, he tells Franklin, all of these are bad men. All of these men want to hurt your mom and your dad, and we need to make them go bye-bye, right? So I'm going to use the visual from Thor Love and Thunder because it was so cool when he basically gave his powers over to all the kids. Well, let's say in this case, it's Dr. Doom using Franklin to basically ignite, if you will, all of the Kang variants and set them off as bombs that destroy their home universes. Basically, he wipes out all the Kangs, but this time using Franklin instead of a Time Ripper. Visually speaking, that would be so cool, right? And I do think that means he would even wipe out these main three. I mean, basically, every Kang variant that is there at the Coliseum is toast, as well as their home universe. And remember, we learned from the comic that killing off the Molecule Man and destroying the universes created incursions. Well, maybe we end up with the same thing that Kang warned about in Quantumania, that the chaos caused by Dr. Doom of wiping out those universes, that it ultimately spread across realities, and that is what started making universes collide and giving us endless incursions. So in Dr. Doom's attempt to make the universe better, he might have actually made it worse. But if Dr. Doom did something like I'm suggesting, using the Kangs to basically wipe out millions upon millions of universes, the result would definitely be that we still have 616, obviously, right? We know that's important, and all of the what-if branches inside the tree. And then also, whether you think they're part of the tree or they're separate, either way, we would still have 838, 828, and 10005. Now, why would they still be around? Well, it's possible that there wasn't a Kang from these universes, so there was no way for Dr. Doom to wipe them out remotely. Or it's also possible he just captured the Kangs from those universes because he wanted to keep these around. It seems like he's got plans for the Fantastic Four and for the X-Men, ultimately in his battle to take over Loki and his throne. And then also, maybe these universes would still be around. You know, the Spider-Man, the Venom, Blade, Daredevil, the Fantastic Four universes from the 2000s, Ghost Riders, you name it. So there may still be a core set of universes still around, but Doctor Doom could effectively wipe out the majority of the multiverse in one fell swoop. And he could end up resolving the Kang storyline in what I think at least is a pretty satisfying way. But it doesn't matter what I think. I want to know what you think. Do you think there's any chance that we're going to see the Kang Council again? And if we see them again, is Doctor Doom going to find a way to wipe them out, somehow destroying the majority of the multiverse in the process? Let me know your thoughts because you know I love to read and respond to everything. And don't forget about that July contest. Be a subscriber, leave a comment, win a book or a steelbook. And there's the membership option in case you're interested in that. And I always love to mention the Discord. The Marvel Metaphysics section is really hopping now that we have all the new information about the multiverse. Plus, I promised I would talk about the Doomsday Countdown Watch on the Discord. Every day listed here at 7 p.m., we watch a different movie or show as we head towards the December 18th, 2026 release of Doomsday. So we have 2,300 members across the globe, conversations 24/7, and I'll leave a pinned comment so you can join. Also, if you don't mind, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. You can check out more content, and we'll all continue to enjoy the ever-growing, the ever-changing Marvel Cinematic Universe.